Welcome to the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks. We're Jim and Joe, lifelong friends, lifelong fans, bringing you fan-driven sports talk the way real fans do. No overpaid experts, no scripted analysis, just honest takes on the games, players, and the big stories shaping sports right now.
I want you to be a part of it too. Drop your comments, questions, and takes. We will read them all and bring them into future shows. So please hit like, subscribe, and join the conversation every week for free on YouTube, next week on Spotify, and wherever you listen. Joseph the Third, how you doing?
Jim, what's up, man?
Hey,
By the way, please, we really do need your comments. Otherwise, it's just Jim and I talking, and no one wants that. We want to hear from you, the fans, why you love sports. Comment on what we're doing. Hey, if you want to talk about or you want to hear something that we're not talking about, let us know that as well. So we're looking forward to that. And we really do read everyone, just like Jim says. He's not kidding this time.
real people, real sports stories,
Yes.
family quarrels, throw
100%.
down some smack. I don't
Right.
care. You want to make fun of the Dolphins, the Hurricanes, the Seminoles, the Dodgers. Go ahead. Bring it.
Yes. Yes. Listen, I'm a Hurricane. My brother's a Florida State Seminole, for crying out loud. My other brother's Alabama Crimson Tide. And then we got the Raiders and the Dolphins. We've got the Dallas Cowboys. We got the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, what other reasons do you need to cause, family tension, right? Come on. Everyone loves family tension and
You
drama.
gotta love it, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of tension,
Wow. Speaking of drama,
everyone in the country is probably talking about, especially baseball fans, but we got to start with a trivia question real quick before we get to talking about last night's Phillies-Dodgers game. Can you name the two players in baseball history now that hit 60 home runs during the regular season and have also homered in the playoffs? We'll give that answer at the end of the show. But if you guys know the answer, put your comment in there and we'll send you a prize.
yeah, we will. Let me talk to the producer about that part. And also, no Googling. Put your phones down. If you don't know the answer, that's, What two players in Major League Baseball history have hit 60 or more home runs in the regular season and both also homered in the playoffs? Correct?
Here we go.
Unbelievable. Well, what a great segue, and because that's a puzzling question, and something happened last night that was very puzzling as well. A decision that will go down in Major League Baseball lore, at least in a certain region, Philadelphia. But let's talk about baseball. Last night's game delivered between the Dodgers and the Phillies. Wow, what a game to watch.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. And what happened?
Well, before that, the game was a classic. Pitchers duel, yawn. Sometimes pitchers duels are not yawners. It was to me very exciting because there were plenty of base runners during those scoreless innings. There were, men on base almost every inning, a very few 1, 2, 3s. So even the scoreless innings were exciting. Obviously, the ninth inning, bases loaded, getting out of a jam to keep the game going. Both teams had their chances, especially late in the game. So if you were watching this game, it was definitely what baseball is all about. Edge of the seat, something really big on the line, postseason. The pitching staffs for both bullpens delivered. It was a real chess match. And then it came down to the 11th inning, and I think that is what everybody's talking about. It's unbelievable.
And in the all-time history of baseball, does that come down to a Bill Buckner moment when Kerkering decided to throw home after bobbling I guess you would call it a broken bat dribbler
It
to
was.
the mound?
Yeah.
Where does that rank to you?
It ranks
To
it ranks
you,
high. But here's the set the stage even bigger. Don't forget that wasn't like first pitch of the at bat. Bases are loaded, and it goes to like 3-2. I mean, the build up to that moment was even magnified more by each pitch leading up to the moment because it wasn't like a 0-1 count or something. It was the money pitch. He throws it inside, right on the handle, right where you want. You get the comebacker. I mean, that's exactly what you couldn't have asked for anything more other than a strikeout. You
and a
bobble it,
broken.
you bobble it. Okay, it's like, oh, he bobbled it, but it only rolls a foot away. Picks it up with his hand. Anybody watching TV, you don't need a 75-inch screen that I have. I'm watching. You can see in the corner of the screen the who was the batter? Pages isn't even halfway to first base by the time he regains control of the ball. Even a 7-year-old who's in his second year of organized baseball is saying, throw it to first. The catcher's pointing, everyone in the stands, everyone at home. And what does he do? Turns and starts throwing it to home. And you can also see the runner coming from third base is literally on the plate practically by the time he even makes it. Wow. To answer your question, Bill Buckner, you can argue it was an aggressive mistake. He was trying to field the ball. He was trying to rush the ball because he knew they had a fast runner coming. Bill Buckner made an error. Okay, that's why it's on part of the line score. Runs, hits, and errors. It's part of the game. It was a big error. It was a disaster. But this was not an error. It won't even go down as an error because it was a mental error. They're not even
Yeah,
counted. It
I
was a
was just
bad
thinking.
decision.
I was just thinking right at that moment in history, and just that it was so huge. It was like Desperado. Why don't you come to your senses?
Yeah, wait. Ah, na, na, Desperado, why don't you throw it to first base? And now you've made a bonehead decision, and now you're a disgrace. Oh, it's
Oh,
it's terrible.
and
It's
Philadelphia fans, they were brutal last night. I mean, give the guy a break. He
yeah,
made a
no,
mistake in the heat of the moment. Let it go, man. Let it
yeah,
go, Philly fans. Some of the
yeah.
stuff I read was like way.
Oh, it couldn't have happened in a worse, better city for that to happen. I will say this: the way the manager literally waited for him on the top steps, the way his teammates, put their arms around him. We forget sometimes, especially in professional sports, that a lot of these guys and ladies, they're still young. He's, I don't know how old he is, but I think he's in his mid 20s. He's still a young,
Yeah,
maybe not a kid, but
yeah,
he's still young, and that he knows what he did, and he can't take it back. The reason the throw is bad, by the way, is not because he made a bad throw. By the time he realized what he was doing, his whole body just was shutting down, and the throw just went. It didn't matter. He knew it at the time. Horrible. But the way the players react and all that, even the opponents, even the Dodgers were on record as saying, "Man, it's a horrible way to win that game. We'll take it. We're not going to give it back." But really nothing but class. But Desperado, by the way, was sung by the Eagles, and we can get to the Eagles later. But it was a bad night for Philadelphia, that's for sure. All right, well, let's talk about the rest of baseball because there were other games and there are other scenarios going on.
can yep. Cannot believe last night the shutout. Shame on me for mentioning that the Cubs pitching would be what brings them down against Milwaukee. But
That's
last
probably
night,
what did it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're welcome.
That's why they're pitching so well because of that.
6-0 Cubs last night in the friendly confines, and the Brewers only had 3 hits. And thanks to Matthew Boyd and the Cubs bullpen, congratulations, Chicago. Series tied up. Game 5 is tomorrow night in Milwaukee at 8:08 p.m.
Yes. Once again, the Cubs score, early in the game, three runs in the first inning again. This time, the Milwaukee Brewers never could catch up. The Cubs pitching was fantastic. It's home field advantage, we'll see. I always thought maybe in baseball, home field's a little overrated compared to, maybe football and basketball, I guess, because of the crowd noise and everything. But, it matters. So we'll see if the Cubs can pull that one out. That's a tough one.
Yep. And then we've got at 8:08 p.m. same time.
But did you just say this game 5, which is the game 7 of the DS round? Are you saying it's on at the same time on the same day?
Double checking right now, my friend, but I
I
believe
mean,
so.
if so, why would you do that? I understand having an afternoon baseball game. Well, no, I don't actually. Afternoon baseball games are, I think, a poetic time to have baseball. I don't know, beautiful, like just like the old days. So you're gonna have
Just
both games on at
discovered.
the same time.
Just discovered it's actually the Tigers go to Seattle, and that game is tonight. My
Ah,
bad. My
okay,
bad. So, and
good.
then tomorrow night is the Cubs at the Brewers.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I've been enjoying watching these games, and I know there's
me
DVR
too.
out there, but it's not the same thing, especially, in these kind of winner take all games. So that's fantastic. I mean, the Blue Jays, just to not, bypass them and what they've done, they punched the Yankees out of this playoff. They didn't, just win some games. They punched them out, and this would be their first pennant since 1993.
It's incredible.
That's yeah, that is incredible. Um, eh, Unlike the Dodgers, who are going to their 13th straight, the Toronto Blue Jays have not had that kind of success. So, people are talking about the Cubs and Seattle, of course, having never won a World Series, but Toronto's got their own, little legacy that they're trying to overcome here, and it's not a good one. So I'm looking forward to, all these games, and we'll see what happens in the Seattle Detroit series. Um, Seattle's been a surprise. Still the underdogs. Detroit's kind of collapse at the end made them seem less of a powerhouse, but they've been good all year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, a lot of people might be hoping for Seattle just to see them finally get to the World Series and win
Sure.
one. So
Well,
could happen.
they've been
Could
the
happen.
Mariners for a long time, the franchise, the pilots, and all that. I think, they're so far out there in the Northwest that people forget about them sometimes. I don't because as an A's fan, I see them in the standings quite a bit. But they've had a good franchise for a while, some good players along the way. So we'll see.
And they should have named them the King Crabs or something.
Yeah. Well, I think if you did name them that, you wouldn't be able to sell as much merchandise because you'd be more shellfish with with the um, with the merchandise.
Painful.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Yes.
speaking of painful, I
Mm.
think we talk some college football real quick
Let's
now.
talk college football.
And painful about a certain coach in the NCAA that just warranting a lot of conversation right now.
Yes.
What coach would that be?
Well, you and I were talking about this, to be fair, just in passing, because people may not know this, but even outside of our great podcast that we enjoy so much, we actually do still talk because we are, best friends since third grade or whatever it was in Miami. So yeah, this came up the other day, and let's just talk about the elephant in the room before we get to some games and some predictions here. What is going on in Chapel Hill with the Bill Belichick situation is nothing, in my opinion, short of a disgrace. Um, I don't even know where to start, but this situation has taken on a life of its own. Not only the drama and the things going on with the girlfriend, and by the way, the assistant coach, being suspended for giving away benefits, such as sideline passes to, players' families and cousins, and it's a joke. And I want to start out with one thing. You and I have talked about this. Um, why did anyone expect Bill Belichick to leave the NFL and instantly take a North Carolina storied program that was, let's face it, Mac Brown, mediocre, good, but not that great over the, last several years. Did anyone expect him to just turn them around or make them awesome? I don't know. I didn't. And one of the reasons I didn't is let me just throw some numbers at you, Jim. Bill Belichick's record at New England after Tom Brady left, 47-57. Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady in his entire NFL coaching career, Cleveland Browns included, 83-101. Just as a Miami Hurricane fan, I think Dave Wannstedt has a better record than Bill Belichick without Tom Brady. And last time I checked, Tom Brady isn't playing college football anymore, certainly not at North Carolina. So my expectations were low to begin with.
That's the first thing that Chapel Bill, which had such a ring to it, all the hype, that's the first thing he did when he got there. He went to his office and went to check to see if Brady used up his eligibility at Michigan. And when he found out that he didn't, then Chapel Bill probably scratched his head and went,
Yeah. Well, here's the bottom line in this whole thing. We can go into, we could probably talk about it for much longer than we have time for. But it's not just the win-loss record, which they're losing games by 25 plus to nobodies. Okay, they're playing horribly. Don't forget, he basically revoked. He pulled a Dion, and just revoked all these scholarships and brought in 500 transfer players, which everyone would agree is a tough lift just to get everyone to play together. But on top of that, he's got Jordan Hudson as part of the story. No one's even sure what her role is, but she's always around, always, involved in something, it looks like. They're not even sure how to handle that. So you've got that drama going on. You've got Armand Hawkins, the assistant coach, like I said, he got suspended. Belichick comes out with a statement saying, no, I'm fully committed. People may not know the contract with all these buyouts that coaches have today. Bill Belichick signed up for a self-buyout of $1 million, meaning if he decides to leave, they only got to pay him $1 million. If he's fired by the university, they owe him $30 million. So, the ball's in his court as far as that goes. But the only program in the AC, it's just, I don't even love North Carolina football. They're a rival, but it's so hard to watch because I'll leave you with this. What he's doing is criminal. Obviously not by breaking any laws, but the people that depend on that program to be successful, you're talking about vendors, you're talking about, a lot of people associated with football games are getting ripped off because the stadium's half full, not even. And there's no hope, there's no energy, there's dysfunction, there's arguing. I've heard that the locker room is completely divided into several segments because of him. It's a mess. The only program that's worse is Stanford. Here's my proposal. North Carolina and Stanford play each other. The loser of that game should be forced to leave the ACC.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah. Because you've got 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to get it together. North Carolina is going backwards so far. I know, Joe. It's only been year one. It's worth year 5. Because it is that bad. But thank you, my friend, for letting me vent that because that is just a really sad situation. Think of being a North Carolina fan. I mean,
I keep thinking about what Mac Brown thinks right now and the entire university, the people that work there, the fans. I mean, I saw more empty seats at halftime, right after halftime in their last game than people sitting in the seats. So that's terrible.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a real good one tomorrow.
Let's go over real football games. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we'll see what unfolds with the Chapel Bill story there.
Yes, we will.
Maybe he'll realize he needs to get out of Dodge. Big time.
Something's got to happen because too many people are being punished. Season ticket holders down to the to the vendors, to the parking lot attendants. The only people left in the stadium at the end of the game are people that really are the parents of the band members. That's the only people left. Yeah.
Oof.
All right, let's go to college football. Let's pick a few games that that people will be interested in. We'll pick our Our winners, let's go over these fairly quickly. What do we want to start
Yeah.
with?
Yeah, I'd say we start with the number 7 Indiana Hoosiers traveling out west to Outson Stadium in Eugene, Oregon to take on the Ducks, who are ranked 3rd in the country. That's tomorrow at 3:30. Guarantee you there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that one. And you want me to do my pick right now? Because I've got a feeling about this
Go.
one.
Yeah, let's
I'm
go.
going with the Miami boy.
Wow.
Mr. Mendoza. And you can't even call them the upstart Hoosiers anymore. They are for real. That is a football team. They are balanced, great offense, very, very good defense. I'm picking that as my upset special tomorrow. Mr. Mendoza goes to Eugene and pulls off an upset over number 3, Oregon. Write it down.
I did in ink. So last year the Hoosiers were 10-0, getting a lot of love from the national media as well. Then they go into Ohio State and got, completely abused. I don't think they want that or will let that happen. Don't forget Oregon, who's number 3 and 5-0. I don't think they didn't look that great against Penn State. It's like they didn't win that game. They outlasted Penn State basically. The first half was like a complete yawn fest. So let's see who Oregon is, because now beating Penn State doesn't look like that much, quite frankly. So it'll be a good test for Oregon. They don't have much after this game, so they're going to put all their chips on the table in this one. I'm going to go with Oregon at home. Can't help it. I don't know what the line is, but I think Oregon wins. I think they cover. So that's what I'm going to put down for that. All right, what's next?
Number 8, Alabama travels again. Of course, the first time they traveled, they didn't do so well against my Knowles in Tallahassee, but the second time they traveled, they certainly impressed by going to Athens and handling Georgia. But this road trip's interesting. This one's going to be up in Columbia, Missouri, against the Missouri Tigers, who are ranked 14th. So number 8 against 14. I'll let you go first on your thoughts and your pick on that.
Okay. So I think Missouri is legit for a couple of reasons. I think they have a very good quarterback. Bo Pribula looks really good. Their running back, Hardy, he's a legitimate, power 4 running back. Interesting. I happen to notice he's a 0-star running back. The only reason that kind of caught my attention is Cam Ward was a 0-star coming out of high school, only a scholarship to Infinite Word, which everybody knows. So you've got a really good running back, a really good quarterback, a good offense, but their defense is the reason they are going to beat Alabama, because their defense is only giving up 4 yards per play. That's right, 4 yards per play. So, and Alabama goes to Tennessee, I believe, after this game. So I'm not saying it's a trap game with a 5-0 Missouri team, but I think Missouri wins this game. I think it's home cooking for them as well, and I think they burn a lot more of the clock than Alabama would like.
I'm going to go against you on this one and say that I think Alabama might be finally on a roll.
Oh,
And I think it's going to be close. But it's just something tells me I think Alabama's got a little bit too much. And why is no one in the country talking about Jeremy Bernard?
yeah. Well,
It's not just all about Ryan Williams. I'm sorry. Jeremy
no, I agree.
Bernard almost single-handedly kept Alabama in a game against Florida State. He just gets open. The guy is great after the catch, gets
Yep.
yardage. He scores
Yep.
touchdowns and everything like that. I see something happening with him in that ball game late, and I'm going
Plus,
to take
plus
Alabama in a very
the guy
late.
getting him the ball, Ty Simpson, he's no slouch. Yeah.
And,
So basically,
and,
wherever the tide takes you, that's where you go. Okay, I got you.
and
All
because of
right.
his name, maybe the defenders don't want to get around him because his name's Jeremy.
Mm,
So
yeah. Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah.
thanks.
Maybe maybe they'll bring some antibacterial um, stuff to the game. All right. What's next?
they'll spray them and it won't be stick 'em like Biletnikoff.
Yes. Right. All
Yep.
right. We got to go through these. We're running out of time
Yep.
now. We still got the NFL to go.
Oklahoma,
Oklahoma,
Oklahoma
Texas.
at Texas in the Red River Shootout.
Love it.
Interesting.
I used to go to that game. I lived in Dallas 4 years back in the late 80s, and I love that. It coincides with the Texas State Fair. Loved it. Great environment.
And I'll go first on this one. Arch finally gets out of his shell and throws for 350 yards against Oklahoma's defense. And they go in and they take care of business because they designate a home team each year, even though it's in a neutral site. I'm taking the Homers, Texas over Oklahoma to knock off number 6.
That is amazing. I'm going to – we are picking the complete opposite teams. This was not planned, by the way, people out there.
No.
There's no way. Write this down. Oh, I'm writing it down. There's no way Texas beats Oklahoma if Arch Manning is quarterback. There's no way for 2 reasons. Number one, Arch Manning has looked bad against mediocre defenses. Oklahoma have one of the top-ranked defenses in the FBS. Even if Mateer doesn't play, I still say Oklahoma wins this game, no problem. Mateer's probable, which gives me even more confidence that Texas has no way of winning this game. Put a fork in Texas. They're going to be 3-3 after this game. The number 1 team in the country preseason is already out of the top 25. They're going to drop out of the top 40 after this game.
Okay. We shall see.
I know.
And we got one more to pick, and it's number
honorable
1.
mention, Ohio State against Illinois. Illinois is number 17, so it is a legitimate matchup, top 20 matchup.
Who you picking on that one?
I'm going to pick Ohio State. That's why this is kind of an afterthought, I think. Good for Illinois having a good year, but they're at Illinois. I don't see Ohio State losing this game.
Yeah, I can't do an upset special on that one. Ohio State's just too good.
Correct.
Buckeyes.
Okay. All right, so we got those written down. There are some other games that, look good on paper just as far as sheer enjoyment goes. Pittsburgh, Florida State. We always got to mention our beloved teams. So,
Miami, Louisville.
Miami's off, so we can't lose. We had a bye before Florida State, beat Florida State, have a bye after Florida State. Then we got 7 ACC teams in a row.
That's right.
Games in a row. I think that's not really the greatest, bye scheduling, whatever it is. But, whatever. Georgia, Auburn, I think Florida, Texas A&M is an interesting game. Can Florida, do it twice against number 5 in the country? Those are interesting to keep an eye on, but let's go to the NFL. All right, we got a few. Let's see how much time we got left. We got about 5-6 minutes to go through the NFL. I think we should mention last night's game before we get into our picks.
Sending the Philadelphia fans further into their despair last night, live on Thursday Night Football. Wow, Jackson Dart. What a spark.
Unbelievable. I happen to have Scatterbo in my fantasy league. I picked him up a few weeks ago. He was just sitting there. He was kind of undiscovered. I think we said this before. Watching that game last night, I have seen high school, college sports, football in this case, where one player can really change the trajectory, the attitude, the culture of a team. For example, as a Miami fan, Cam Ward literally came in and just energized that offense, number 1 offense in FBS because of him. Basically had the same players year before. Florida State, you can argue, Castellano is the reason that offense is moving right now with basically the same players, transfer portal. So you see it quite a bit in college. In the pros, not so much. Professionals, very rarely. Now, you could see somebody like Tom Brady come in and make a team better, and the leadership can make the culture better. I've never seen anything like 2 players, Jackson Dart, come in. He didn't start, so it was only in the last couple games, and Scatterbo, who's just a freaking football player with an attitude that's just oozing, and he's sweating attitude. I've never seen that in the NFL in my life. 2 players come in and completely change a culture. The Giants look like a bunch of just you know,
Crazed
unmotivated.
animals.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Confidence is contagious. And culture, there's your three C's right there. Confidence is contagious and it changes the culture. And I love when Scatabo, he tries to seek out contact and he's always shaking his head in his helmet. It's kind of like, is he just trying to get his brains back in order so he can know what the next play is or something? He
I
did
think
it at
so.
Arizona State too. He always just does this thing where he shakes. Does his helmet not fit right? No, I think he's getting his brains unscrambled so he can go bash somebody else's head on the defense on the next play. He is special. I love watching that guy play.
Me
And
too.
Dart too.
Dart
Dart
was
too.
Dart's
So
fantastic. Dart looks the part. He probably should be playing for LA, but whatever. I think New York needs a blonde beach bum to come in there and just looks the part. The fans love him. When he was out for one series, Wilson comes in, goes 3 and out. I've never heard a stadium boo so loud. They booed when Wilson came in. Your backup quarterback is Russell Wilson, and he comes in, goes 3 and out, and I mean, darts in the tent. The head coach is yelling at the doctor. You can see him going, yelling at the doctor. The doctor's like, "Hey, I don't have any. Those are non-team related doctors in there." Scatterbo goes into the tent and gets kicked out of the tent because he's trying to get Dart out of the tent. He's literally trying to pull him by his arm.
wait. Scatabo
Unbelievable.
went in the tent so he could headbutt the doctor.
Yeah, yeah,
Give
right.
him a concussion.
He probably did. He probably had to literally be restrained. And then Dart comes out. The rest is history. It's kind of really crazy to watch Philadelphia struggle so much. We just assumed they were just the best team, but I'll tell you what, Hurts, that pick, almost pick six, that pick off on the goal line, that's a game changer. But anyways, wow, what a game to watch. If you haven't watched that, I strongly recommend go to YouTube after you watch our podcast and go in there and watch that full game and watch Jackson Dart's uh, leadership of this offense. And with his leadership of the offense, the defense, these same guys that were just going through the motions, games ago, were like flying around. It's amazing to really see. All right, we got a
Culture.
few games to pick before we have to close it out here. Let's
49ers.
start with probably the best game on paper, and that's San Francisco, Tampa Bay. Both teams 4-1.
I'm going to go right to my pick, if I may, with your permission, Joe.
Well,
I'm
always.
going to take Tampa Bay at home. I'm pretty impressed with Baker Mayfield. Simple as that.
Um, I am picking the exact same team. I have Baker Mayfield in one of my fantasy leagues, and he starts off first halves are like okay, but man, when the game starts getting tight or on the line, the guy's he's I don't know where he must be running. He must have bottled water from St. Augustine because he looks like he's back in college as he's limping around. I just get concerned about his health, quite frankly. But yeah, Tampa Bay at home with Baker Mayfield. I like it. I still know Mike Evans, I don't think, but it doesn't seem to matter. So, all right. Um,
Egbuka is quite a
yeah,
story. Got
yeah, no, that's
runs.
100%. Yeah,
I mean, my goodness.
he's fun to watch too, man. And I really just I love their coach. I love his demeanor. They could be down 3 touchdowns, and he looks the same as when they're up three. I think that's good for the team as well. Um, all right, what's
Lions,
next?
Lions and the Chiefs. Who you got?
Interesting game because this game is really more about Kansas City than it is about Detroit. I think Detroit has found their rhythm after a tough week one. And is it possible? I mean, are we actually watching a possibility that Kansas City can, suddenly wake up and find themselves, you know, in a really bad situation out of the playoffs?
Yeah, the games in Kansas City is the only thing that's making me wonder. Think I'm going to pick on this one? I think the Lions are hot, and I'm going to go with the Lions.
Me too. I am because I'll tell you why. You not only have Kansas City's not looking like the old Kansas City. The Detroit, the Lions defense is not, it's not like it's bad. It's a pretty good defense. But I mean, the running game, that Detroit has with those two double-headed, what is it called? Dual-headed monster. Um, I'm telling you right now that they can run, they can throw. Their offense is not relying on one. It's not a one-trick pony. And
Gibbs and
and
Montgomery.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, no,
Gibbs and Montgomery.
100%. Gibbs, and they complement each other so well. And if you ever watch Gibbs and Montgomery on the sideline, they literally love each other's performance. In other words, when Montgomery, reels off 20 or gets a touchdown, Gibbs is the first one to celebrate with him. So they love playing together. Again, you can't go ahead and pick your poison with Detroit. I think Detroit wins by more than a touchdown in this game.
It's the Dan Campbell culture.
The question is,
We
will we
fight
hear
for each other.
boos in Kansas City? That's the question. I don't know. All right. The really there's some strange matchups this weekend. There's not a lot of Cincinnati Green Bay type games, but there is one more game. Seattle 3-2 against the Jaguars 4-1. How lucky? What's the Jaguars record should be right now? I don't know, but it is 4-1, and the new coach has them believing, although by the skin of their teeth. So who do you got?
Go take the Jaguars until they prove me wrong.
Wow. Yeah.
Liam
Um,
Cohen's got a good thing going there in Jacksonville.
I
Looks like
agree.
he's got the team back. He and Trevor Lawrence had a little moment there during a game when Trevor's telling him, "I don't want that play" or whatever, or maybe he was just waving to someone behind Cohen. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Jags because they're at home too.
Yeah. Well, when you get stepped on, game on the line, no timeouts left, you fall down, you scramble to your feet, fall down again, like
And
in
he
a
did he
horror
get up?
movie, and then that took like 11 seconds, and then you get on your feet, look around, and there's no one around you for 6 yards, all the way to the end zone. You got a feeling that there's a higher power helping the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, so you can't go against that. So until, like you say, until I see that genie in the bottle get put back in, or that magic run off, I don't know. I got to go with Jacksonville as well.
Yep.
Um,
And should
last
we
game.
answer our trivia? Should we
Well,
answer our
wait. Last
trivia?
game, honorable mention.
Oh yeah.
Who's going to go 1-5? The Tennessee Titans or the Las Vegas Raiders? They're both 1-4. Tennessee with the brand new number one pick, playing better but still not great. And Las Vegas with Pete Carroll, people thought they were an 8-8 type team this year after a rough year last year. Well, they both have disappointed. Who's got that game?
I'm gonna go with your Raiders. They got to break through.
Las Vegas Raiders at home. I don't blame you for that. I'll be honest with you, their Raiders quarterback play has been horrible. I'm Tennessee coming off the victory on the road. Let's just go out on a limb here. Even though I love the Raiders, I think the Raiders are going the wrong way, and Tennessee's trying to go the right way. So I'm going to go with Tennessee in a close one.
Respect that. Good pick.
Okay.
We
All
shall
right.
see.
Those are our picks. Now, to close it out, let's go with the trivia question.
Okay. Once again, the only players in Major League Baseball history that hit 60 home runs and or more, as you mentioned, and then have also homered in the playoffs. I'll say the first player. It was Babe Ruth.
Whoa. Wow. That's incredible.
And the second player in history, Mr. Big Dumper
What?
Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners.
Catcher?
A catcher.
Not a first baseman, third baseman, or center fielder.
Hitting right fielder? No, sir.
Wow.
Cal Raleigh and Babe Ruth are
Only
in the
two
books.
players in Major League
Incredible.
Baseball history, which is a ton of history, have hit 60 plus in the regular season and a home run in the playoffs, and that's Babe Ruth and the Big Dumpster. That's the dumpster?
The Big Dumper.
Oh, Dumper. Yes, that's right. Sorry, Big Dumper. That's awesome. You'd think Otani would have been in there somewhere, but it's amazing. All right. Well, that's it then. Great trivia question. Let's bring some more each week because that was a good one. You certainly had me. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. This episode is now over. That's it for the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks with Jim and Joe. Thanks for checking us out and hanging with us for some real fan-driven sports talk.
Don't forget, your comments are part of the show. Drop them below. We'll read them. We'll feature them into future episodes. Be sure to like, subscribe, and catch us every week free on YouTube, next week on Spotify, or wherever you listen. Thank you for joining us. Throw your comments in there. We want to hear your stories about, you can throw some shade, stories about rivalries with your families, everything. We want to talk about you too, not just us.
Take care. See you, buddy. See you next
John.
time. All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Have a great one. Bye.
You too.